Welcome to What the Theory with Joel. I'm Joel, and we're back for a very serious conversation with a very serious person. Allegedly. I'm joking. Dr. Innocent Immaculate Achan. She's both innocent and immaculate.
Yeah.
In the corner, we have some people watching, but they won't be showed. Should I mention your names? Over? You okay for me not to mention your names? They're very popular. Pesha Humza is over there. She caused a disturbance yesterday on Twitter. She posted a picture and everyone was talking about something in the picture. And then there's Nana Banana there in the corner. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, thanks. Alan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You enjoying that cookie? Yeah? And then there's Nana Banana. Okay. How have you been? Corner. Say hi.
It's been a while. We haven't done this like in a long time.
Yeah, we've been doing PPJ a lot of the time. And
Yeah. Last time we were talking to Reverend Captain Priest.
Yeah.
Now it's a doctor.
yeah. People doing the Lord's work everywhere.
Yeah, it's a fact to follow.
Is it really? Yeah, it's cover.
You don't read books.
Okay. Fair point.
He talks about the invisible, not like you talk about the invisible.
True.
You talk about the mind, which is invisible.
The mind and the brain. I think a distinction has to be made between a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and perhaps a neurologist. Yeah.
So, which one?
Psychiatrists sort of straddle the world of a neurologist and the world of a psychologist. So we have to understand how the physical brain works, but we also have to understand how the mind, the intangible part of it, works. Yeah, so it's hard work.
But somebody's got to do it.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah, that's why you're making all the big bucks, right?
Am I?
Aren't you? This is a fantastic top.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's old and was cheap. I thrifted it. I love thrifting.
It's taking this in the direction I wasn't expecting. But okay. I've known Dr. Achan for
6 years.
Years?
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah. And in that time, you were a writer. You were a doctor.
Yeah.
You were a nuisance. You were a jolly person.
Okay.
You were a murderous bird. There's a picture that you're going to put up here. So you're a murderous bird at some point.
I keep forgetting. Are penguins bad?
Aren't they?
They are.
Flightless birds.
Yeah, they're flightless.
Yeah, flightless birds.
Okay,
yeah. And I remember when you told me that you were going to become a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist.
Yes.
And I was wondering, but why? So why?
Why not?
Thanks for coming on the podcast
Yeah.
and laying it all out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, but okay. What made you change?
So,
First of all, what made you go into medicine?
what made me go into medicine?
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be a vet at first, right? Because my dad is a vet,
Hey.
and I love animals. I like them a lot. I used to say I like animals more than human beings, but then I found out that that's not a very mentally healthy perspective to have. It doesn't paint you in a flattering light. So I have since changed my stance to be that, all lives
No.
are valuable.
Okay, thanks. You're about to get contingent of people in our mentions.
Yeah, human lives are valuable, animal lives are valuable, plant lives are valuable. So,
Okay.
but not certain bacterial and viral lives. Are viruses alive? No.
I'm sure. Don't they exhibit the same
No.
functions as life?
No, and that's a point of contention in the scientific community. But anyways, at first I wanted to be a vet,
Yeah.
and then pragmatism kicked in. It's not a very well-paid profession in Uganda, and I also thought about how sad I would be having to deal with injured animals that can't, say, oh, it hurts here. And so I thought to myself, I should pivot into other living
Did
things.
you say the word pivot?
Pivot, yeah.
So Dr. Achan was also, what is it? Change maker? What is it?
Excuse me.
The Leo Institute.
Oh,
What is it
you're
called?
trying to get me into trouble.
No, I just want to tell people some of the things.
The young and Emerging Leaders Program
Yeah.
under the Leo Africa Initiative.
What year?
2018.
So you're an alumni.
I am.
Well done.
I'm an alumnus.
All right. I don't know. I want to assume your pronouns. You could be them.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said when you said
No,
when you said the word
alumnus.
when you said the word
Alumnus
pivot.
is gender neutral.
Yeah, no, but alumni is many and alumnus is
Yeah, but
one.
when you say they, it's just so that you don't
So you said
say
alumni.
it. No, anyways,
So I said alumni.
fine. Keep
I was
going.
also invited. I just didn't have time to go to the institute. I was also invited. I could have pivoted.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're taking me off the thing. When you said the word pivot, then I knew you had been around like corporate
Change
management type.
makers.
Yeah, change makers. You know, we use impactful language.
Transformational
Transformational leadership. You know, let me stop talking because you'll find many clips of me saying the same thing. Okay. So you liked animals more than people.
At that point, not anymore.
What person changed your mind?
My mom.
Oh.
Yeah. So I started thinking, I would also want to help people. I think when you have megalomaniac tendencies, everybody wants to rule the world. Not everybody, but some of us.
I love that song.
It's a good song. I like the
the
Mojo Jojo version.
Well done.
So you sort of get this. Some of my words won't be pronounced correctly because I read more than I.
Oh, you've not
and
had them
listen.
said out loud, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of hubris about what impact I can have on the lives of a large number of people, and I think medicine is one of those places where you can impact a large number of people from like one small place. They come to you. Yeah. So that was essentially it. And I was good at sciences. So
You were just naturally inclined to sciences.
yeah.
But you're also a writer.
I am.
Will you share your old writing that we can put here on the... You can say no just so that people know that you said no. But I'm not putting you on the spot. Will you share the link?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm not embarrassed about it.
So you don't have that clear distinction between arts and sciences?
Yeah, no,
like in school and be like, you're either doing arts or you're doing science.
I mean, I also think, if you read an older textbook, an older medical textbook, the writing is really pleasant, like it flows. I think this sharp distinction between art and science is a recent development. It wasn't really something
Yeah, the
that
emphasis on
existed.
STEM.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember reading your best friend Freud.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
He's a very persuasive writer. And there's a bit when he's talking about, what is it, the 3 insults to humanity.
Okay.
Which was the first one was, we found out first that we were not in the center of the universe, like the earth is not the center of the universe.
Yeah.
So we're decentered there. Then we found out that we are not God's crowning achievement. Because like we evolved from all of these things.
Yeah.
And evolution doesn't have like a favorite. Like bacteria is just as evolved for its environment as we are for ours.
Yeah.
So like we're decentered from that. And then he was like, I'm dealing with the 3rd blow, meaning you're not in charge in your own head.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've read him more than I have.
Yeah. I also fancied becoming a psychiatrist, but I think what people are saying is I needed one more than to become one.
What do you mean?
I seem crazy.
Oh, okay. I see. Sorry.
All right, back on track.
Yeah.
You said something about the hubris of being a medical doctor.
Yeah.
I personally think that you need a little bit of, like I think in society we have people who tend towards being a bit sociopathic,
Yeah.
or at least megalomaniacal.
Yeah.
And so there are some professions we should put them in because then they are more productive.
Yeah.
One of which I think is surgeon.
I agree.
Like a person who can cut open another human being and say, I know what to do here, is insane to me.
Polarizing language, but
Yeah, this podcast is about bring me to your face.
we don't start labeling people, but I do agree. I think certain people are predisposed to having a God complex, and would you rather have a God who creates and
who
fixes
destroys.
or one who destroys? So yeah, I think some people are better suited to certain fields.
Do you feel like you have that?
I think so, to a certain degree. I think you have to have a God complex to think you can fix a person's mind. Something that's intangible. You can't touch it, but you believe that you have the power to change it. You have to have a sort of God complex.
Yeah, and you switched pretty recently. Like you went from the body, which you're a medical doctor,
Yeah.
trained practicing, and then you switched to start studying when?
In 2023, but I didn't switch. It was a continuation. Yeah, because to be a psychiatrist, you have to first be a medical doctor, and then you continue on. You specialize into what you want to do. And not to say I never thought of psychiatry as one of the things I wanted to do. It was one of the options, but then I was also interested in internal medicine. I was also interested in orthopedic medicine, but I lifted a leg once during a surgery and got pins and needles. I couldn't manage it and realized, yeah, this is not for me. I'm not strong enough.
What?
Yeah, like the leg was super heavy. And I may look strong,
but
I can't fight. I can't carry heavy things.
Don't say you can't fight. No.
I cannot fight. I don't fight.
Yeah, you choose not to fight.
No, I haven't fought since I was in primary 7, in 2007.
Yeah, because what you did to that person,
What
did they
do you
survive?
mean? They did.
Are they okay?
I hope so.
My compression. And so, more interestingly, what I want to learn from this is my first proper question for this thing.
Yeah.
What is the mind?
I'm
starting really low. No. Okay, what would you say? What would you say we get wrong about the mind?
I would say the assumption that it is a separate entity from the brain. It's not. I think I would look at the brain as a projector, and then the mind is the projected image from the brain. So one cannot exist without the other, and one exists because of the other. Yeah, I think there is, especially in pop culture, a sort of understanding that the mind is some separate thing that continues to exist even after the brain has, stopped functioning. Some people liken it to the soul.
Yeah.
Scientifically, no, that's not what it is. Like we know that there is the science of certain electrochemical reactions that happen inside the brain that cause you to have the things that make up what we call the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I personally was, the last time we had this podcast, we were talking to Reverend Captain Gideon.
Yeah.
And the question I asked him was, if he thinks there's a soul that exists, how is it possible that when I drink alcohol, that soul is touched by something physical like a drink? Because it affects me, it affects my personality, it affects how I'm doing things.
Yeah.
Or if I have like a brain injury, it affects my personality. So there has to be some link between the two.
Yeah.
But he's saying that thing subsists even when the body dies.
Yeah.
And he used the word energy. So doesn't that stuff, what do you think about that thought? Do you think there's a possibility? You've just said that they don't exist.
They're not separate.
They're not separate things.
Yeah.
So in your field, does the thought of the soul, the thought of all of that subsisting, does it ever affect how you engage with patients? Because I'm pretty sure that patients or even other doctors, that belief is it persists in society.
Yeah.
So do you think that affects how people think about treating the body?
I think it does. I mean, personally, my thoughts are pretty hard science on that. And when the Reverend said, there is energy, there is energy, Every single nerve impulse is energy that is released. And we all know that energy cannot be destroyed. It just continues to exist in a different form. So whether that form is, I don't know, something we don't fully understand yet, possibly a soul, I leave that open to interpretation and open to future science that will hopefully figure it out, You cannot speak in absolutes when it comes to science because we are still learning. There's still so much to learn and we will probably never know everything. But for other people, for patients, for example, I like to lean into the religious and spiritual beliefs that people have about the mind and the soul and how they coexist, because the existential terror of contemplating the fact that you may actually just be a carbon-based life form that stops when
Yeah.
it dies
Yeah.
can be impossible to cope with for a lot of people and can actually worsen mental well-being outcomes. So I don't go around trying to convince everyone that, hey, you're carbon-based and you don't have a soul. You just have these electrochemical impulses that are firing, and that's what you are. And when the brain stops, you stop.
That's it.
No, yeah.
So that's like a useful fiction, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. A useful relative fiction, because they might be
It
right.
could be.
We might be right in the future, and I don't know about it. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about mental health.
Yeah.
I think June is Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that I was seeing was talking about either you're mentally healthy or you're not.
Yeah.
So that's another question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
How would you define, how would you define health and then mental health?
Oh my God. I'm going to disappoint my lecturers over here, but there's a World Health Organization of health, and it includes physical well-being, social well-being, and mental well-being.
Physical, mental,
Yeah, and social.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're doing well physically, your heart is pumping the way it should, your muscles are working the way they should, and then the mental part, your brain is working the way it should, your mind is working the way it should, and socially you're surrounded by people who love you, you have a good job, a good life, essentially. That's the general definition of health, yeah,
Okay.
by the World Health Organization.
Okay.
But I thought you didn't say that.
There's a big
There's no but. And then when it comes to mental health, once again, it goes to how well you're functioning in relation to not just yourself, but the work you do, other people who are in your society, because human beings are social creatures. So we always juxtapose ourselves against other human beings. How well am I relating with the people I love?
Yeah.
How well am I relating with the people I don't love? You know, how well am I relating with the things I love to do? Essentially, yeah, it's a very muddied definition, but yeah, essentially it.
Because most of the time when I hear it, it's like we talk about mental health when things are not going well. So I've always wondered what the picture of someone being mentally healthy is.
Yeah.
And the best I can come up with is we say, oh, you're not acting normal, which for me is mostly like a statistical thing. Like the average of people my age who are maybe my gender, who they'll say, okay, average is here and you're here. And so however far you are from the average, you're doing well or doing terrible.
Yeah, we just have to look at it on a spectrum. So there is no standardized value for mental well-being. Unfortunately, we don't have, you know, like blood pressure readings where we can say, hey, if you have 120 over this. We don't have that. And unfortunately, the way mental health works is it's hard to standardize and to truly quantify how well a person is doing. But when a person is not doing well, you can tell. It's more overt, and I think that makes it even more difficult to go into conversations about mental well-being without pathologizing simple things, non-medical things that should not be medicalized, because we don't really have standard measurement tools that are objective. And we can say, you know, similar to the way a physician can measure your blood pressure and say because it's 120 over 60, you're perfectly healthy, and if it's 140 over 90, you have this stage of hypertension. Yeah, we don't really have that. We do have some tools that help to measure, but most of them say you have a mental illness or you don't have a mental illness. Yeah.
So that's interesting, because for me, like, I was surprised how young the field is.
Yeah.
Like, how old is psychiatry?
Depends on what you're calling psychiatry.
Like maybe the modern practice, like things that people would refer to now and still think this is relevant for my practice. Like there are certain discoveries, certain ways of thinking about things that still persist to now.
So the first psychotropic medication, those are medications that treat mental illnesses or change the way the mind works. was developed in the 1950s.
Huh? When Alan was?
Oh, come on.
I thought he was a thought.
In the 1950s, this was a drug called chlorpromazine, and it actually wasn't developed as an antipsychotic at first. It was developed as an anesthetic. They were looking for ways to, knock people out for surgery, and then they realized that, we can actually use this to knock out someone who is having a psychotic episode and they're really aggressive and they're fighting. And then they found out that, an effect of us sedating this person is the voices they're hearing also go away. So if you're basing on that, then I would say the 1950s is when the field really started taking off. But mental asylums have existed since like the 18th century.
So they say
When the field really started taking off.
It's when they could tell from
But
In the 4th century.
mental asylums,
tell,
18th
but
century.
mid-20th century is when they actually formed the American
Yeah.
Psychiatry Association.
Yeah. But
20th century when things
mental asylum.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course we are looking at purely Western history.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
even the current mental health care systems that we have in Uganda right now are a sort of echo of the colonial systems that were left here, because Butabika was opened, I think, in 1955.
Wow.
In 1955, and the mode of care was, we need to get these mentally ill people out of the general population, and somewhere separate from everyone else. And that was quite dangerous and harmful to our systems, because the pre-colonial systems that existed, yes, they were not perfect. A lot of the beliefs surrounding mental illness were, this person is mentally ill because alikempeoze chika. You know, it's an ancestral curse, that's traveling down. But there was a sort of community model to caring for people with mental illnesses. And it's funny because right now in the Western world, what is being pushed as the ideal mode of mental health care is this community model, where people are treated from inside the community. They don't get institutionalized for a very long time. So we had these systems where the traditional healers would work on people in the community. From within the community, the bulk of the mental health care was being provided by family members. And yes, the biological end may not have been doing great. We really can't know. We can't know. Maybe they had herbal medications that were effective. The psychological and social ends of things were really being covered by the community. So right now what's happening in the modern healthcare system of Uganda is we are trying to find a balance between Western biological methods of caring for mentally ill people and our community-based methods that had a strong emphasis on the psychological and social aspects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is where I'm now going to start talking my psychology and philosophy things. So, in the book Discipline and Punish, the idea was that at a certain point in time in history, that different epochs have different ways they think about certain things. And one of the examples they had is, like you're saying, even if they knew somebody was not well, there were times when the other person has been touched by the divine. So they would probably be the ones who would say, what do you see? And the person is encouraged to then say the things that they see. And there's some debate as to whether that was something that, like, the elders of the community knew and said, you know what, they're not frightened people. Like, let's say this is a message that's coming from the beyond, or whether they really believed it. And they would incorporate people back into, like, rituals and society, so that you don't feel like you're completely off, and other people don't treat you like you're completely off. But when cities started to come together, that's when asylums were, like, largely coming up in Europe, because you're basically strangers living together in a small population. So you want to, like, get rid of these guys. We just don't want to see you, and, like, out of sight, out of mind.
Essentially.
So now, like, when you say Butabika, for instance, it's like a bad word. Everyone tries to say, no, there's no stigma, but there's still a harsh tone. That guy's in Butabika. So, like, I wonder, now you're mentioning that we're trying to move away from that. Do you think that that is a recent movement? Because like socially, I'm seeing maybe younger people are starting to talk about mental health a bit more.
Yeah.
But still, there's that thing of that person, take them out of society. And actually, when you've left, to come back into society when people know is a very difficult thing.
It is. It is a very difficult thing. And the attempts to move away from the institutional model to a more community-based model are not new. They've been present since the 1960s, 1970s. Things were already happening, mostly in the Western world, once again, but you know how those things trickle down to us eventually. And right now, we are just trying to play catch up with the rest of the world, because when you look at countries like Canada, they have very robust community mental health care systems. The mental health hospitals have shrunk down in size, and then they deal with individuals within their communities. So they have multiple outposts. So it would be a scenario like there being a small center in Kampala, maybe the national referral where really difficult cases are sent, but Wakiso has its own unit, Mukono has its own unit, Gulu has its own unit, and people come there to be seen but go back home. They don't stay within the hospital. Now, when it comes to public attitudes towards mental health, the stigma, that's a relatively new development, at least for Ugandans. And
really?
I think it's the globalization of the world that has happened because of the internet that is forcing people to have these conversations and ask themselves, what's going on? Why do we look at people who have certain conditions the way we do? Is there anything we can do to change that?
Okay.
Yeah, and also you can't downplay the efforts of the mental health professionals who have tried, the public health professionals who have actually tried to get this information out there and sensitize people and educate people about things. But stigma is still a very, very big issue, especially in Uganda.
Okay. So to jump on that point, one, we started by saying there's the biological, there's the physical, and there's the social. Psychological, biopsychosocial. That model. And you've explained to me before.
Yeah.
Now, I usually, when I think about mental health, people say that, there's a chemical imbalance in that person's brain. Like that's what I hear it being said. But that has never been a satisfactory explanation for me, because when I fall in love, there's something going on up here. There has to be something that has triggered it from the outside. So when we talk about it as like, something is wrong, it's almost used as I remember when they were talking about gay marriage in the US, and one of the things Obama was saying at the time was, the person can't change how they feel. Almost as if say, if it was a choice, it would be a problem. But because the person didn't have a choice, somehow there's something beyond their capabilities. And I think that has sort of opened the door for people to say, there's something going on with their brain chemistry, which then implies give them some chemicals and they shall be okay.
We'll sort it out.
I think it's doing quite a bit of damage. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. That actually brings in the conversation of the pathologization of the medicalization of appropriate responses to stress in the world. And you have to ask yourself, who decides what is an appropriate response to stress? And when do we say that the person is responding inappropriately to whatever stressor they're facing? So stress is not just, I'm stressed, the way most of us understand it. So stress can be psychological stress. Your boss is yelling at you at work. You're having trouble figuring out where you're going to get your next meal from. Your boyfriend has broken up with you. That could be psychological stress. It's up here. But it can also be physical stress. You're sick. You have malaria. You have hypertension. You have diabetes. That's still stress on the body. It can be social stress. It can be economic stress. Anything that forces your body out of equilibrium. And the thing is, the different stressors don't target a particular area of the body and say, oh, I'm psychological stress, so I will only, target here.
Okay.
I'm physical stress, so I'll only target down here. No, all stress is felt by the body as one thing, stress, and your entire body, including your brain, responds to this stress. So what has happened, especially with people who lean more towards the biomedical model versus the biopsychosocial model, is we are sort of telling people, you know what, this thing is your problem. You're not controlling your stress well enough. So if you fix your stress, if you figure out your stress, you don't have good coping mechanisms. You have an external locus of control, so you need to work on those things. Your nervous system is dysregulated. Can we regulate your nervous system? Can we regulate your nervous system? And then you'll be mentally fine. So we've put the responsibility of mental health on the individual, yet it's a systemic thing. Because a person who doesn't have a job, don't know where their next meal is going to be from, don't have social support systems because they can't afford to live in the same place as their family members, are exposed to illnesses. They're getting malaria because they don't have a mosquito net, they live near the swamp. Such a person is really, their reactions to stress are going to be high, like it's inevitable. And I think, unfortunately, what has happened with mental health is, instead of forcing the people in charge to look at the systems that are leading people to be in these scenarios where they face these stressors, we are saying, no, it's an individual problem and we need to fix the individual. Why aren't you resilient enough to deal with this? Yet the problem is the person does not have any social welfare programs to help them, cope. So. Okay.
So, I mean, then for your efforts then, when you're dealing in a world where systemic change doesn't really happen. Effectively, we don't even think about the system changing because it's not even an option. Or if people will give acknowledgement to it, they'll say, it should, but we can't change the whole system. So they'll end up saying, now you need to be the one to change. How do you end up performing your work in such a space? Because now you're saying that, like, that individual who shows up to you has all these things going wrong. Maybe it ends up in them, say, having like a psychotic break or something, and then they're brought into you for treatment, and maybe you might give them the treatment, but you then know, okay, when this person leaves here, they're going back into an environment which,
led
them to this. You know that that's what's going to happen. So what's the current treatment plan for someone like that?
In the meantime, at least for me, because I'm still a student.
What? Get out of here.
Put on blinders. Put on blinders and do what you can, because there are people who are trying to do the work that will help with that. Like people in the Ministry of Health, NGOs and whatnot. And all you can do really is put on your blinders, do what you can, and when you get to a point where you can do something, join the efforts of other people to do it. Because we also can't excise the biological.
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
So let me go back to the pathologizing bit. People who watch PPJ will know when we do like things on attachment theory or things to do, this person is this. I've been quite uncomfortable with them because they sort of speak with very discrete, finite senses that a person is just this, and like it's almost like their genetics is their future. Like that's who they are. And I also think that because the internet has a lot of, it's an identity, I think it's an identity forming technology. You try and present yourself in different ways. So I might show up and then say, I'm like this, I need an answer. And instead of sitting in that ambiguity of who you are as a person, you look for something and say, oh yeah, I have ADHD. Why? Because I can't pay attention to something long enough. And it's becoming very we're playing fast and loose, I think, with the language, it's coming into, like earlier today, somebody here who will not be mentioned said they were gaslighting me. So, for example, I think I know what gaslighting means.
Yeah.
But what does it? Is it a technical term?
Yeah.
And is the technical term different from what we're using in like pop culture?
Yeah.
Since you inhabit both worlds, give me an answer, please.
There's a technical term. I don't know the technical term off the top of my head.
Was it the gaslighting technical term?
But like there's a technical term of gaslighting, and then there's obviously the pop culturization of it. I think, how would I put it? You've put me in a tight spot. This is a question you should be asking a psychologist. But, but I know I should know both. I think what's happening is people are trying to get some agency in a world that is designed to rob them of agency. Like if you're in a world which is telling you have to be productive all the time, you know, produce, you can't sit in one place and, you know, focus on something, you can't enjoy yourself, you always have to be a part of the machine producing. People who fail to adhere to those, what are essentially the current norms, look for ways to explain why they can't adhere to those norms to help them overcome the shame that comes with it. Because you understand being a part of society is performing as you're expected to in society. And when you fail to do that, there's a lot of shame that comes with it. So when someone is able to say, I have ADHD, even if they've not gone to a psychiatrist and got a diagnosis, they're externalizing the accountability for their inability to exist.
I would be doing this, but if not for my ADHD.
Exactly. But it goes back to, are we ascribing responsibility to the individual for a systemic problem? Because these are dysfunctional systems. A human being should not be producing 24/7, should not be a commodity essentially. So I think that's what's going on. It's more sociological than it is medical. But there are people who actually suffer from these conditions, which is why PSA, please, if you think that you have any of the popular mental illnesses, like ADHD, autism, OCD, please speak to a mental health professional, or at the very least a medical professional, to give you proper guidance, because there are actually tools that can help you to function better in the world. Maybe this is beyond your purview, but I keep seeing all these tools of test yourself, like from the Mayo Clinic and whatnot. And sometimes when I go there, I see that they are very, they assume a certain context. They'll assume I'm staying in the US or in the UK or whatever. But a lot of people do those tests to then self-diagnose. Would you encourage that, or you're saying that you should go to someone and speak to them, go to a referral hospital, call a line, and then I think it's a good form of self-soothing. You've fallen down and you have a bruise, you put some salt on it, but it's not an antibiotic. It's not going to help the wound to heal without getting infected. So I don't think there's any harm in doing those things. But at the end of the day, there are standardized tools that professionals are able to provide you with. So
you should utilize those. Okay. Now, going on with that piece for myself, at some point I thought I felt I had depression.
Putting me in a tight spot.
No, I'm going to leave. Like I thought I had depression. And then when I went to talk to the doctor, the psychiatrist, after they examined me, they said, well, all your responses seem natural to the situation that you're in, to all the things that are going on. In fact, you seem to be quite resilient. And what they were saying to me was, the fact that I'm thinking of myself as resilient was a bit of an issue, because it meant I kept pushing myself and then thinking about how I'm not showing up as happy and engaged and excited. So I was like mounting things onto myself. So the question I have for you is like the common parlance of be strong. Some suffer through it, guma.
Yeah.
There is some benefit to it because exercising, sleeping on time, all those things, they actually helped me. Just taking care of my physical body really helped. But at the same time, I was constantly going, when am I going to feel better? When am I going to feel better? When am I going to feel better? So the question I have for you is that how do you, what advice do you give for people who think they are going through like a huge depressive episode, they feel like their mental health is going through a rough time, they are probably unable to go and see a health professional. Like, because by the time I went to a health professional, I'm fortunate that I work in a place which provides that kind of service. Like I wasn't going to pay out of pocket. But there are a few individuals I've spoken to who feel they have that and they start treating themselves in less than healthy ways. So for an individual like that, I'm thinking of someone who has a lot of stress and maybe they're a working person. How do you start to break away and go and get help? Because getting help itself has to admit that there's something not quite right with me. And right now, to get to that point, because of this discrete nature, I'm just having a hard time. I didn't think I was completely finished until I got to a certain point where I was just feeling sad all the time. And I thought feeling sad equals depression. I'm like, no, I don't think that's it. That's a very convoluted question. But here we go.
I get it. Another PSA, normalize therapy. Normalize getting therapy. I think another issue that mental health faces is we have failed to appropriately decentralize mental health care. Everything seems to be happening at a super specialist level. Every single person with a mental issue has to be seen by a psychiatrist. At least that's the public understanding of mental health. But just like other aspects of health, there are different levels of care you can access based on your needs, right? And so I love using the physical fitness example, right? You're feeling a little heavy. You struggle going up a hill now. You're like, oh God, I need to do something about this weight. You're likely not going to go to a physician, You're not going to go straight to a gastroenterologist and tell them, help me, I'm morbidly obese. No, you're going to look for a fitness instructor and probably a dietitian and get help and you'll be okay. It's the same thing with mental health. There are different levels. So at the very top level of psychotherapy, you have your psychologists, right? And your psychiatrists and your psychoanalysts.
Let's grant them as well.
No. Those guys are something else. They need to study for 10 years. They need to study for 10 years. So you have your psychologists and your psychiatrists and your psychoanalysts at the top level of providing therapy. But then you come down and you have your therapists who don't have a master's degree in providing psychology, but they have a bachelor's degree probably. And then you have counselors, someone who took a short course on how to provide talk therapy, to talk to someone and help them get through a hard time. Most people should be routinely accessing the counselors.
Frequently?
Yeah, and therapists.
Okay.
In an ideal world, your community should be this for you.
Should be providing that to you.
Yeah, should be providing that to you. But in a world where, most people are living in fenced places, they probably don't talk to their neighbor, their closest friend is 8 kilometers away. The next best thing, the next best thing is a professional who knows what questions to ask you to help guide you towards getting better. So psychotherapy is not going to tell you to get better, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. No, what it's actually going to do is help you figure out on your own what path you need to go on to get you to the best possible outcomes. So for such people, that's what I would advise. Seek out a counselor, seek out a therapist. Church is great. Mosques are great because a lot of those organizations provide counselors. They actually provide counseling. and it's actually quite helpful for
Yeah.
people. Yeah, there is a list of mental health providers floating around online. I will find it and share it with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, let me get to the very big, powerful question now. Language and power. So we talked about like terms like trauma and resilience, which are flooding everyday language. So do you think there is any issue, I think maybe you answered this, of medicalizing normal suffering and then you remove sort of the implications of heavy words, like the word trauma? I think to me, I'm trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
And the understanding that I got from a psychoanalyst was an event is traumatic for you if you fail to properly symbolize it, if you fail to properly incorporate it into your sense of self.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say something happened to me as a child, it's a traumatic event, I tell someone about it, and then they're like, that doesn't sound traumatic at all. Like, it's not about the gravity of the situation to everyone else, it's like what it meant for me and how it sort of delinked my ability to think of myself and that thing and, you know, the impact it's having on me.
Yeah.
But seeing as like we were talking about at the beginning, you can't see what's inside my head. So I might know that if I say that, someone is going to allow that my bad behavior can then be excused because I was traumatized in a certain area.
Yeah.
Like, it's starting to show up in our relationships to a certain degree. Like, because I have this trauma, this is an area that you can't talk to me about. I'm wondering, how do you engage with that nuance? Because I want to respect the fact that you've had a traumatic experience, and I understand that I might not understand when you say it, but how do I engage with you and still respect you as a human being? Because we have obligations and expectations of each other. You can't hurt me and then say it was your trauma that hurt me. It's you.
Yeah, I mean, on the medical end of things, for us to qualify an event as traumatic, we look at the magnitude of the event. You know, were your parents killed in front of you, something like that. And this is also deeply subjective. Like you said, one person might find a road accident extremely traumatic and another person doesn't. So it's subjective. And then another thing we look at is the persistence of the feelings surrounding the event, the uncomfortable feelings surrounding the event. If you've lost someone close to you, it's reasonable for you to be extremely sad about it for a certain duration of time, but past a certain duration, then we start thinking something else is going on here. It's not just that event and your normal reaction to the event. And then another thing we look at is your level of functioning, how it's impacting your functioning and your relationships with other people. Yeah. So unfortunately, we've pop culturalized the word trauma as well. And I wouldn't be telling you to sit down every person who tells you they have trauma and tell them what's the magnitude, what's the persistence, blah, blah, blah. But I think there's some degree of accountability we have to demand of other people we engage with. I think that's just a part of of being in a society. You tell them, this is not a nice thing for psychiatrists in training to be saying, but you tell them, please.
Be serious.
Yeah, get up. Lock your knees. Not everything should make you.
Okay.
Psychiatrists in training to be saying, please.
Be serious.
Yeah.
Is trauma purely a negative word?
Not everything should.
What's the positive? What's the other side?
Okay.
If something annoys me or something, I just had a conversation. So is it purely something traumatic? Is purely something that affects you?
Yeah, it's purely something negative. Ideally, it's a neutral thing. Yeah? It's a response to a negative event, so it's neutral. But what would the opposite be?
I used to know that's what that word "or" used to mean. Like if something awful, like something awful or something awesome,
or
that
awesome,
it goes
or
in both directions. But it's
Yeah.
something that's overwhelming. It's like too much, and then they would say you think it's sacred. Maybe you think it's awesome in that. It was sublime. It was beyond what I can think of. So you keep thinking about the event, and it maybe gives you joy to think about it. Then others it's frightening to a certain degree. So I think that's where, at least me, I learned that from people used to talk about God. They say if you encounter God, it's an awe-inspiring experience. you can be terrified completely, or you can feel overwhelmed. So I don't know, may I would use or.
I think I would go with his. I told you my vocabulary is offline, so.
But it's a good point. I mean, when you were talking about, say, the maybe not trivializing of medical language, I find that, say, with my cousins, my relatives who are much younger, they use the language so easily. But at the same time, I'm also concerned, maybe from a political space, that you can like try on these identities several times. Like, I'm trying this, does it fit? Let me move it on to something else. And yet there might be individuals who, for them, that's a real struggle. Yeah. And I keep wondering, is it all right for me to try on your identity for a spin and say, okay, does this work? But then the pushback that I get is that, well, I mean, identity is something that you do, that you create. Yeah. So someone can't hold that identity and say that it's theirs and no one else's to experience. Yeah. So I just feel for you working in the social media age.
Thank you for feeling for me.
I really think that
that's very kind.
You could have been a vet. They're not out there tweeting.
No, but like another thing, I think that
animals. I mean, not vets. Vets are maybe tweeting.
How do you know?
Doctor, what's his name? Who's the most famous vet? Mitch. Yeah, he tweets.
Okay. No, but I think another thing that we will have to work really hard on is getting people to not form identities around the mental illness. I know it's empowering, it gives them a sort of agency, but for us, some of the language we use in the medical space, for example, instead of saying a psychotic person, we want to say a person with psychosis. We want to externalize that illness and sort of separate it from the individual. Yes, you're suffering from it, but it doesn't define you. Because I don't think people go around saying, I'm a hypertensive.
No.
I'm a malaria.
I'm a typhoid.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, and that's a really difficult place mental health finds itself in, because it straddles the world of science and the world of art, because we have to approach people with philosophical questions and whatnot, but also on the medical end of things. But maybe your conversation with a psychologist would have gone differently.
Maybe. I mean, as someone doing economics, I'm very sure. I think all subjects suffer from what I call physics envy. Yeah. Because physics is like, the gravity is this. Yeah. It's a final figure. You can measure it. You can go out into anywhere in the world and test it. Yeah. But things to do with economics, things to do with psychology, you can't like really put someone in a lab, get a fixed measure, and then everyone is going to get that same measure. Like the tools for themselves now. Also. Yeah, so I guess you believe that that's a thing. But looking at it from the debate side, where they're going, by the time it gets sorted into something concrete, it means that it has lent itself to measurability, it has lent itself to repeatability, and that at all times there will be things about us that escape that. Yeah. And if we keep trying to do that, whatever you get as an answer will tell you what it is, but will never tell you why. Yeah. Like, you probably know the hormones that lead to someone having affection for somebody. Yeah. But that doesn't satisfy the answer that you're asking, like, why does that person like me? Yeah, yeah. So don't you think that you're in a forever pursuit? Like, it will just become some things you put into this folder and say, yeah, that's medication, but then you keep pursuing. That's the art. Of course. Part of it.
For sure. And I think that's part of what makes a lot of medical professionals lean heavily on the biomedical part of the biopsychosocial model. Yeah, so that's something we will be dealing with for a really long time. But there are advances that are going on in mental health research to help us to be able to actually quantify certain aspects of mental health. So that would be nice. Certainty is always nice.
Is it?
It will. Most of the time, you know. It would be nice to be able to say, hey, your levels of serotonin and dopamine and glutamate should be this and this and this. And if you fall out of this range, this is why you're feeling this way, and this is what we can do to help you. I think that's essentially the point of modern medicine, to standardize things that we initially thought were not standardizable. we used to give you a full cup of Mururuza for malaria and hope it works, but we've been able to, break it down and say, oh, this is the dosage you need based on this weight that you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have just a few more questions, then maybe
A few more questions.
Just a few, like 4 more. just 4 more. I think this is part 1. This is just general knowledge before we get into the big things. 4 more.
Fear of missing out.
The 4th to last question for me.
Yeah.
There's a wellness industry that has come up, a big one. And for the most part, there are people who are encouraging people to do yoga, to exercise.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll put a lot more emphasis in things like, we're going to change your energies, or you're going to do, the one that I don't like is, what's the one where they put a certain medication and then they water it down? My God, I'm forgetting what it's called. Like they'll put a drop of something and then put a lot of water and then be like, that's going to treat you. Anyway, yoga, herbs, exercise, ECT devices are very big now.
Yeah.
Alternative therapies.
Yeah.
And there's a mistrust of like the pharmaceutical industry. It's not maybe as big here, but I know like in the US, in the UK, there's just the thought that, because it's for business enterprise, it's very easy to then say, let me just treat the symptoms by giving you this medication.
Yeah.
And because you're moving high paced, you're going to take the medication for you to, feel better. Now someone may want to move away from that and then may fall into the hands of these therapies.
Yeah.
Is there a general rule of thumb for you to look at, okay, if I'm going to try a certain product, how do I know that these promises are beyond what this person could be rightfully claiming they can do for my health?
I mean, obviously, if you can, speak to a mental health professional, but something people have to understand is the most effective complementary therapies are free.
The most effective complementary therapies are free.
Take a walk. Take a walk.
So those in charge, I've seen me going for a walk.
Yeah, hopefully in a not dusty place.
Oh.
Yeah. Take a nice walk in nature.
Okay.
Go to the beach. Water is great for mental health.
Amaz.
Okay.
What? Yes, that's water.
Anyways.
No. Why is that such a controversial thing to say?
Sleep.
So you see some water and then you'll be okay.
Sleep about 8 hours a day. Yoga. There's so many YouTube channels that teach people yoga techniques. Exercise, jog, go for a swim if you can afford the 10K that swimming pool is going to ask for. But a lot of the things that actually help you feel better are free or within reach and affordable, and you don't have to go to a company to purchase it. For example, there are things like, you need this amount of magnesium. And get this magnesium supplement.
Is detoxifying a thing? I want you to tell me now. Because whenever people say you want to detoxify, I'm like, aren't my organs already doing that? So what am I doing?
You came with an inbuilt detoxifier. The liver is excellent at detoxifying you. And as long as you drink enough water, you eat.
Detoxing.
Yeah, you're detoxing.
So those other things are just like placebos. They'll make me feel like because that's what someone told me. They felt like human beings. Okay, this is going into psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
Like if you told a human being something is free, for some reason they won't think it's valuable.
Yeah.
Like whether it's water, things that come for free, you don't attach much value to them. That even if someone puts something which is ordinarily cheap into like a packaging that's quite beautiful, the very fact that it's packaged gives it a sort of surplus enjoyment. So his thought was, just give someone like a shake, some kind of like I don't know, a green shake that you've made, and then say, okay, this is going to detoxify, and then you take it. So you're not taking anything harmful, but you're taking something and feeling like, I'm having liquids and my body is going to detoxify, and the fact that my mind is not...
The shake probably has, some vegetables, antioxidants,
things that
vitamins,
are good for you anyway.
Things that are good for you, but things that you would have access in your everyday life anyways. So a lot of the nutritional supplements, you can get those nutrients from eating food. Okay. The Ugandan diet is very good for a balanced diet, as long as you don't, you don't put a lot of carbs
Dr. Kasenene
on your...
keeps telling us.
And I can't
are you
believe...
with Dr.
I
Kasenene?
cannot
Hold on.
believe
Are you with Dr. Kasenene?
Unfortunately.
Which team Dr. Kasenene, you have a fan here.
An air conditioner, in fact. So...
Let's proceed. I can't believe you said that. All right, AC.
Yeah, so essentially, the best thing for your mind is to have a healthy body.
Best thing for my mind is a healthy body.
Yeah, a healthy body is the best thing for your mind.
Okay.
But also things like sleep actually have evidence-based benefits for the brain, drinking enough water, exercising. You don't want to go into hard science, but there are chemicals that are released that help you to form new nerve connections in your brain.
Hey.
Essentially, your brain is getting bigger because you've taken a walk, right? So when
look at my neighbor who's always saying, "Why are you going for a walk?"
When it comes to complementary therapies, a lot of the most effective things are free, and we don't tell you don't use them, but
something's gone wrong.
Look for the things that most mental health professionals will agree on, and just go for that, because most of them are readily available. But then also, I think, unfortunately, the mental health industry is under a lot of scrutiny that is much harsher than what a lot of the other parts of the health industry face. Because I would juxtapose that against people saying, "Oh, do intermittent fasting, do this keto diet." These are things that people seem to have embraced more readily than they've embraced a lot of the things in mental health. And I guess I understand the hesitancy. You don't want to mess with your brain. It's the CPU of your body. If it's not functioning, then everything is probably going to go.
Well, allegedly, we don't want to.
Allegedly.
I'm always I wake up and blast a sea of information into my face every morning. And I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't think we were built for that, but well.
Do you think these things are making us have much worse mental health?
For sure. Yes, they are. Because the brain, one of the functions of the brain is to sort what's important and what's not important. And unfortunately, a lot of social media is designed in such a way that everything seems important.
Everything is like urgent. Everything demands your attention.
Urgent. Yeah, so your brain is working overtime to filter out these things, and it thinks everything is important. And people assume that trauma can only happen in real time, physically, but you can actually take on someone else's trauma from constant exposure.
Say that again and say it more.
You can take on someone else's trauma from constant exposure. Like you're hearing about people in Palestine getting bombed, dying. We're not going to diagnose you as having PTSD because you saw someone on TV get bombed, but it's not good for you. It's not good for your mental well-being. We are not built to experience such negativity at such a large scale constantly.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
This is I'm really going off the deep end here.
Yeah.
But
just now.
It's been a while. So there used to be this idea, I think in Abrahamic religions, that you exist within your body.
Yeah.
But I think there's the Persian idea that you are not in your body, but that there is like a social sea around you, language, culture, and all of that, and that your vessel gets filled with that thing. So that if you're Persian, it means that you have lived and existed in Persia, and those things have filled you. That if you took a baby from there and threw them probably in China, and all of that was what they received, that person would essentially be Chinese. Even though maybe they have the bodily characteristics of someone from Persia. Yeah. And the argument was that you don't exist inside yourself. It's like you're a receiver for that information, meaning that whatever society you're in, you become, whatever is normal there becomes normal for you. And then if you're moved somewhere else, it becomes something different. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So the social cultural thing. Why I kept saying Uganda is a weird in terms of, you know, that white evangelical thing. Like a lot of what's normal in the corporate world is something that was gotten from Protestants, English Protestants mainly, and so that has become the norm.
Yeah.
Now, if you're born in a country that maybe doesn't lend itself to that, you might constantly be on the edge. So some of those social cultural things will say, well, these people are lazy, or they'll say this group of people are a certain way.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that some of that personal psychological discussion can come to a societal level? Like, can you pathologize a society? Can a society at a certain point be like, those guys overly, I don't know, emphasize discipline over freedom, or they overly do something? Because if it's the norm, you bring it to the norm of an individual.
Yeah.
So are you saying that whatever is right in a society, for them, that's what being healthy means?
Yeah.
So like for the movie, what was it, 300?
Yeah.
Like for the Spartans, because for them they're like, yeah, we send our kids out here
to die.
Yeah, so if someone was like, we shouldn't do that, to that society, that person is abnormal. I don't know if you can use the word abnormal.
Yeah, you can.
The extreme.
Yes.
You don't know that your eyes were made.
No, you can. Like that, and that's why we always emphasize that mental health has to be viewed in the context of the people.
Hey, what's up, Kamala?
Oh, come on.
That was all just for you to say that Kamala is. You exist in the context in which you are.
Yeah, like the context of the people who are there. Because an example I love bringing up is the response to grief, right? Different cultures respond differently to grief.
Yeah.
And we have a disorder that is, it's a grief disorder. You're grieving for too long at a magnitude more than what you should. And when it comes to the African context, it finds difficulty here because our grieving processes are very...
Rituals are different.
Yeah, our rituals are different. Grieving loudly is encouraged. And yet when you go to a society like, for example, Japan,
stoic about
you have to be stoic about it. It's sort of frowned upon. There is a duration for which in Uganda, for example, you're allowed to grieve for as long as, please grieve for as long as you can. And yet the DSM says you shouldn't grieve for more than 6 months.
Wow.
You should not be grieving for more than 6 months. And yet that's based on the American population,
which was taken where that was done.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to view every single aspect of mental health in the context of the people who live in it. Another thing is psychosis. We can tell people, we can say, if someone, a Pentecostal, says, I'm hearing God telling me, you know, God is telling me to preach to people, it makes sense in their context, right? And I'm not going to diagnose them with psychosis unless there are other things.
There is a community for which that is a normal behavior,
there's a community
and we understand in which this is a healthy range.
Exactly, exactly. But if an atheist came and started telling me, I'm hearing God's voice and it's telling me, you know, I should rule Uganda. Now the context is different.
Blasphemer, how dare you? You're denying the word.
I didn't say anything. I've been very neutral about these things. Okay? Yes, so I'm just saying, any good mental health professional is always going to examine a person's mental health within the context of where they are. Yeah. So
then my question then goes, how do you
tell? This is question number what?
This is the last one. Okay. How do you tell that someone is in an unhealthy? Because if I'm saying Uganda and here it's expected that you're supposed to live a certain way, and then I find it very off-putting and I'm not thriving, and there's another society in which I could thrive, is it upon me to then say, okay, I think this place is not right for me, I need to go somewhere else? Because from that model it almost seems like there's no vantage point within which you can say this is not harmful. Like there's no universal, aside from things like obvious physical harm, obvious, exposure to undue stress. Like there's, because it's subjective, I wonder with what authority you're able to I guess, be able to say the society I'm in is not functioning for me, or I'm not functioning for them, because I can understand how they would say, but we've always existed this way. This has always been the way things have been done.
Yeah.
Why don't you allow? And I worry about that in the sense of maybe there's something we're doing now that is extremely harmful. One of which I think is like hitting children. It's very normal. You just beat them. You're hitting someone smaller than you and teaching them that's kawa. How? So the people who are saying that's wrong for so long have to be, I guess, okay being seen as off. Being seen as
deviant.
Deviance. So I think is it that we always have to have deviance because that's the only way society can change? There always have to be some...
I think it's inevitable. I think we are always going to have deviance as humanity. Did I say something wrong?
No. We call ourselves the deviants.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So welcome. You're fitting in.
No, thank you. In a sense.
Okay. You're an immaculate deviant.
As long as humanity advances, because we don't know enough about ourselves. I know we keep saying, we should know less about each other, but
we really should.
on a species scale, we don't really fully understand ourselves yet, and because we are constantly changing, once again, I don't think there will ever be a time when we fully understand what it is to be a human being. So there are always going to be deviants. And now you're taking me into sociology, and I'm not a sociologist. You man.
No, but we said we do the bio-psycho. Now we're on the social.
And I think it all comes down to what serves the majority versus the minority. There are always going to be things that, I guess then this takes me...
You're going
This takes me to what? To Kohlberg's stages of moral development. And
you're aware of those, right? Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
We were talking about them yesterday.
So Kohlberg, psychologist, came up with 6 stages of moral development that he believes all human beings are supposed to move through, although he later scraped level 6 because he was like, we're not going to make it. No one ever gets here. It's the best level. But essentially, he was saying that human beings move through different levels of how they view morality in their minds, and you want to get to level 5 and 6, where your idea of morality is very personalized, based on your belief system and not on external factors like the law and, if I don't do this, I'll get punished. If I do this, I'll get given this. No, you're doing it because you think this is right and this is wrong. And because such a small part of the population is consistently at level 5 and 6, there will never be a time when there's justice for everyone. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not worth pursuing, right?
It's not, it just needs that small percentage of people to constantly be speaking up until eventually it's not so much that you're going to pull everyone into stage 6 and stage 5 of moral development, but you're probably going to get this thing that you believe in because of your own morality to be maybe passed into law. You can no longer discriminate against people who are in homosexual relationships because it's the law. So then you cover all those other guys who are down there. They want to disrespect them, but they can't because the law says they can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Alan, do you have any last question?
Who are down there, they want to disrespect them, but
this is one of them, so they're going to be excited to watch again or they edit.
Okay. You'll be learning.
There's a lot that we've been thrown in there.
Those who are down there, they want to disrespect them, but
and hopefully we get a part 2.
No, this is part 1 of 3 parts. If Doc is excited to discuss this, one, this was just an introduction to just general concepts, things that we think about for mental health. The second episode is really going to talk about Uganda's mental health landscape. Just want to sort of learn, how many psychologists, therapists we have. Have things been updated? Are people going into that field? I don't know anybody other than you and one other person who've gone into that field.
Yeah.
And when I look at the numbers, I'm like, so just trying to figure
Not
that
looking
out.
good, bro.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And then the third episode is really just, I'm calling it praxis. It's like, what should we be doing?
Yeah. You see, you like those words.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm one of those annoying people.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that you came. I'm really glad that you came for today's episode.
Please emphasize that I am a student.
She's a student.
Thank you.
But she was also the class monitor. What are you? The class
representative.
Class representative.
I'm free.
She's the one who collects papers.
I am free.
The one the teacher likes. But you also have clinical hours, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But I'm a student. Okay? I'm a master of medicine in psychiatry.
Okay.
Student. So I'm not a psychiatrist. The distinction is very important. I'm not a psychiatrist yet. Yes. And I'm no longer the class representative. I'm very sad about that.
Okay. Any words from the people off screen? Just yell. I'm handsome, thank you. Help.
Is that another way to describe a person who has hands?
Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Terrible. That was actually really good.